That going. Save recording. Oh, all right, we're good. All right, welcome everybody. Welcome to our workshop, Assistive Technology for Early Childhood. I'm gonna dive right in here. We got three of us here today. My name is Paul.
I'm Beth James.
I'm Elizabeth.
And we're all reporting from Pacer Center in Minnesota. We have our two different departments talking today, so we'll be able to touch on assistive technology, but also one of our primary services around parent advocacy. Beth is here to share her insights in regards to that. So let's get through a couple of technical things. First off, we have a handout. You can use this QR code, but I'm also going to put the link in the chat. So there's a link in the chat, and I'm also going to just drag the file straight into the chat so you can download it straight from the Zoom chat if the link doesn't work for you. Anyone who's coming in late won't be able to see that, so we'll probably be putting the link in more times throughout the day. But everything on this link is something that we're going to be covering today. There's things like prices and compatibility, links to where you can find these different technologies that we're looking at. So go ahead and refer to that for any additional information. And then I'll point out this is a Zoom webinar, so we cannot see you or hear you. So we use that chat quite a bit. If you have questions or comments, please put those in the chat so we can hear from you and learn from you guys as well, any insights that you have. And you can also make sure to choose everyone on there if you want everyone to see your comment, because that's helpful for other people to learn if we can't cover everything. We only have an hour. So keep that in mind. Please use that chat. And then if you're having any technical difficulties, go ahead and put that in there as well. All right, one thing a lot of people want to know is, do we have a certificate attendance for this? We absolutely do. There will be a survey at the end of this presentation, and you'll be able, if you fill out that survey, there'll be a certificate that you can download there. It's only available if you're watching this live on Zoom. If you're watching the recording, which we're going to put on our YouTube channel, then it's not available. So just those of you who are here right now watching this live. All right. So what are we going to do today? I want to start first, just talk briefly about Pacer Center. You might be already familiar with us, but I'll do a brief overview of who we are and what we do. And then we're going to dive into just what is AT, assistive technology? What does that mean? And then we'll turn it over to Beth to talk a little bit about AT and how it pertains to IDEA. And if you're not familiar with what that is, she'll chime in. And then we'll get into some AT demonstrations. So the bulk of what we're going to be doing today is showing different things, different technology for early childhood. So let's do it. Pacer Center. You found this webinar, so you're probably already familiar a little bit with us. But we have three main focuses that we work with. One is parent advocacy, which is really about helping parents of kids with disabilities navigate all of the things that come with having a child with a disability. But we also have a focus on social inclusion. We have our National Bullying Prevention Center. We also do STEM programs for teens with disabilities. And then our other section is assistive technology, which is where Elizabeth and I, the department we're in, and some of the services that we offer completely for free to Minnesota residents are just general information and referrals. So you just have random questions about technology, reach out to us, email us, call us, we can answer those. And we have a lending library. Here's a picture in the side with I think like around 1,500 different pieces of technology and apps ranging for all disabilities and actually all ages too, not just early childhood. We have devices for all different ages. But if the library isn't enough, we offer guided explorations where we can help narrow down potential solutions, kind of like we're doing today, but we can do it specifically for you or the person that you're working with. And then we can train on a specific tool. A lot of things that we're looking at today are toys, don't need training, but there are some things that do require training. We can train on those as well. So next, let's talk about assistive technology. Now, there's a definition. I'm going to read it, and you're all going to zone out while I'm reading it. But it's any item, piece of equipment, or product system, whether purchased commercially, off the shelf, modified, or customized, that is used to increase, maintain, or improve functional capabilities of a child with a disability or a person with disability. And that I zoned out just saying it because there's a lot there. There's a lot there in what it's talking about. If we really narrow that down, though, it's any piece of technology that's helping someone with a disability do something they couldn't do without it. And a lot of times we think about technology as being, computers and iPads and fancy communication devices, but it can be a stuffed animal that moves. It can be a pencil grip. It can be a non-stick mat that we're going to be looking at. So there's a whole spectrum of what is considered assistive technology, but it's really just any piece of technology that helps you do something you couldn't do without it. So wanted to narrow that down. As we are showing these different examples, you're going to see a lot of things you might not have considered technology, but it helps if it's helping someone with a disability in a specific way. And that being said, in regards to assistive technology, I want to turn it over to Beth to talk about it in regards to the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act.
Yeah, we felt this was important to address the Individuals with Disabilities in Education Act. That's our federal law that oversees special education services and that eligibility piece for students anywhere from birth all the way up to 22 years old. And there are a couple of parts that we want to highlight today around the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. We often call it IDEA for short. And one of those is it's called Part C, and that covers early intervention services for kiddos birth up to age 3 years old. And if a child is eligible, they have to go through an evaluation process. And if they're eligible, they get something under Part C called the Individualized I always say it a little wrong, let me check, Individualized Family Services Plan. So IFSP for short. And that plan and that team, that IFSP team, can look at those services. And among those services they can look at is assistive technology to determine if that's an appropriate service for the little kiddo and that infant or toddler, and determine what that would look like. Similarly, under Part B of IDEA, that's for students and kids who are ages 3 all the way up to 22 years old. That is if they're eligible through an evaluation process, the team would come together as an Individualized Education Program team, IEP team, and determine and look at if assistive technology services and supports are needed. And they're supposed to do that annually, and it's supposed to be represented in that IEP. So if you have a kiddo that has an IEP, that's something the team should be looking at together. And something that I just want to point out is sometimes we think about certain disabilities having access to assistive technology. Assistive technology should be explored for everybody, regardless of their disability or special education eligibility criteria or category. And so when we're looking at that Part C or Part B, that assistive technology should be considered. Some kiddos might not qualify for those special education services, and so families explore other options, either through MA, so looking at that, or private insurance. They might partner with their physician to explore things. They might come into Simon Technology Center and explore. They might private pay. So we just wanted to make sure that you're aware of how to use IDEA to access some of that assistive technology service. And given how highly individualized a lot of these circumstances are, this is where it can be a great service to call into us or go to our website at pacer.org and request to work with a parent trainer advocate, which is my role. And we can talk through your specific circumstances to determine what are your options, what ideas are there in order for your kiddo to access that assistive technology. So let's get into the fun stuff. and start to look at what our team brought today. I'm so excited.
Yeah, and even just to point out on that handout, there is a link to reach out to an advocate if that's the component that you need right now.
I think it's at the very bottom of the handout.
Very bottom. Whereas if you're just interested in assistive technology, that's Elizabeth and I, and we can, there's information to reach out about assistive technology as well. So what do we got first?
I think we're starting with play.
Starting to play. All right, I'm gonna turn it over to Elizabeth.
Can you switch the camera?
Oh,
over
I'll
for me?
switch camera.
And thank you. All right, so we're going to start with play, and within play, we're going to start with switch adapted toys. And what does that mean if you're not familiar? So some children might have difficulty manipulating toys with their hands, but they might be able to activate and play with that toy by using something called a switch that I can activate with a movement that I can reliably and easily make. So how this works is it has a plug here on the end, and then a switch adapted toy has a port built in. So if I plug this in here, now they're connected and I can use them. But within switch adapted toys, there are 3 ways that they can be adapted and how they'll work with the switch. And usually which way they are is dependent on the toy and how it was adapted and things like that. So we're going to go through each of them and kind of how they're different. So with my bulldozer here is an example of what's called direct switch control, which means that this toy the toy will activate when I press my switch, but then when I stop pressing my switch, the toy will stop. So I'm going to show you here as an example. So I'm going to press my switch. But as soon as I stopped pressing my switch, it stopped. So this is a true cause and effect. I did something and something happened, I stopped, it stopped. Which, can be great, but also if I can't hold the switch for very long, to get it to go, it might not be as fun. So maybe there's another toy that I want to try as well. So we're going to come back to the bulldozer here in a little bit. So I'm going to give that one a call. Okay. All right, so my next toy here is Flappy the elephant. He's kind of actually maybe
do we want to hold it up in the other camera?
All right, so he actually has 2 switch ports here. That one he sings and one he plays the little game here. And so I'm going to hold up my switch and try and do it without activating. But this toy is an example of what's called latch switch control. And what latch means is that when I hit my switch, he's going to start singing, and he'll continue to sing until I hit my switch again to stop it. So I have to start and stop it with my switch. So if I press to start.
Hello, baby. Peekaboo is the most fun with you.
And so he'll keep going until I hit my switch the second time, he stopped. So I have a little bit more, get a little more fun out of it because my first, I don't have to press and hold to get him to go.
Hello, baby. Peekaboo is the most fun with you.
All right.
Where can you go?
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
I can just hit this. I got it.
All right. And then the third type of switch control is called timed switch control. And with this switch control, when I hit my switch, the toy activates for a certain amount of time, whether it be a phrase, a song, or whatever, and he will keep going regardless if I hit the switch again to stop him. So he'll do whatever he's programmed to do without stopping. So this is my, maybe
Another one. Here we go.
It's my little kitty here. And so I'm gonna plug it in here. And then when I hit my switch here, they will go and continue going regardless. So she lights up and hers, there we go. But if I hit my switch, it doesn't matter. She keeps on going, except when she gets to the end of her song. So those are the 3 different types. And what kind a toy has is really dependent on the toy and how it was adapted and things like that. Usually when you go to purchase one, they should hopefully tell you They might not use the words direct, latch, or timed, but the description should tell you, you hit your switch and it goes until you hit it again, things like that. So you can look and find the one that you're looking for. However, if you have a toy that is direct switch control, like my bulldozer here, but you would like it to be timed or latch, there is a little device here called the Tiny Switchy, which comes with this cord here. So let's see if and what this allows me to do is I'm going to plug this part back into my toy. And then if I take my switch, instead of plugging it into the toy, I'm going to plug it into this port that says switch there. And then this allows me to choose if I want to make this direct switch control toy to be either latch or timed. So let's see if I can, they call this toggle, my thing's in the way there. Toggle or timed, but if I set it to toggle, now when I hit my switch and then release my switch, it should keep going. So I hit my switch and it stopped. So now it's a latched toy. So there are some options if you have a toy that is direct switch control that you would like to be a different kind of switch control. All right. And then for all of these demonstrations, I've been using this switch. And this, I might unplug it, because otherwise I'm going to keep doing it. So there are I've been using this switch, which is the big buddy button red, I believe is the right order of those words. But there are lots of different kinds of switches, and really take some trying different things to see which one is the best for an individual, so that is a movement that they can reliably and efficiently activate. And so you might consider things like what is their targeting ability? Do I need to have them have a big target like this, or could they reach and activate a smaller target? You might think about their range of motion, like how far do I have to travel with either my hand or my shoulder or my head or my feet to activate it, as well as how much force do I need to activate as well, because there are different kinds of switches. So we have a few examples today. So this one is the adjustable angle switch. So it looks very similar kind of this way to the buddy button. But what's neat about this one is if I turn it to the side here, it's mounted on this pedestal, and I can turn these knobs and loosen it so that I can then move this switch top that activates it to a different angle so that I can get it to the angle that would work for the kid. And so then I can tighten it again when I get it to where I want it. And then it just becomes just like the buddy button that I can activate that way as well. This here is the vertical wobble switch. And it has some suction cups here on the bottom. So this might be helpful if I have a child who can kind of do a kind of a swiping motion or a raking motion with their arm or a leg, because all I have to do is move this yellow lever to activate my switch. So it's, higher up. I don't have to go down to the table like with the other switches. And it requires, maybe a little less movement or different movement.
This one gets grabbed a lot because it looks like a joystick, so it tends to rip off a bit. But if you're just bumping it like a gnat grasping, it works really well.
Right. You can also grasp it.
You can.
Yeah. And then the last one I have here is the super bumpy switch. And it is exactly as the name sounds. It is very bumpy. So this might be if you are working with someone who has some tactile sensory needs, or they're motivated by that. So these are kind of raised bumps, but then it's on a plate there. So I can just press the bumps and activate my switch that way. So those are just 4 examples of switches. There are many more. And so we have a lot you can explore in our library, but also we're always happy to explore with you to kind of find what the best situation might be. All right. So now we're going to talk about how we can make toys that we either already have or toys that have built-in features that might make them more accessible for kids while they're playing. So the first thing we're going to look at, we're kind of calling suction cups, but how can we stabilize toys to keep them within a child's reach and make it easier to manipulate them so that the toys are not falling over or moving out of their reach, and so they don't get frustrated and then lack of interest and they don't want to play because the toys are not accessible for them. So I have a few examples here of toys that have some of that accessibility built in. So this is Melissa and Doug's first bead maze, but it has these suction cups on the bottom that I can suction to a table or high chair or a wheelchair tray, and then I can kind of play with this and manipulate it, and it's not going to fall over and fall off the table or what have you. And then another example of a toy that has that kind of some accessibility built in. These are the Pip Squigs. They have each one has a little different texture as well as a noise. So they're kind of a rattle noise. I don't know if you can hear that through Zoom there, but they also have suction cups on them so that I can stick them to the table and play with them that way and hear the sound. But they stay within my reach, and I don't have to have someone putting them back for me. But you can always add suction cups or Velcro to toys that you already have to stabilize them that way. Oh, goodness.
It's good on.
All right, so another way we can make toys more accessible is that we can think about how we could make them easier to grasp by building up some handles or kind of the parts of the toy to make them easier to manipulate. So the ones that are on the handout are these paintbrushes that have a little thicker handle that might make them easier to grasp for tiny hands. So there's different options there. But we can also just do it ourselves and think of ways that if there's a toy that a kid really likes or it's really popular, but we might need to adapt it in a certain way. So this is a toy pizza cutter, but we've just put a piece of foam around the handle to build it up and so that I can grasp that instead of the thinner handle. Another way you can do it is just to add some rods or dowels to art supplies so that I can just grasp this and I don't have to use the more fine motor tasks to grasp sponge as well.
What is that glue that we used?
I don't know. I did not make this.
Oh.
So it's also been around a while.
No, okay.
But also, so those are some DIY and the paintbrushes. You can also think about it with puzzles as well. So this is the Geo puzzle board that's on your handout, which is nice because it has these knobs already built into the puzzle piece so that I can pick the puzzle piece up like this rather than having to take it out of the puzzle piece with that kind of a grasp. So that can be something to look for. But you can also do it yourself with puzzles that don't have that already. So this is the puzzle that we adapted to add the knobs here. You can see where we've lost one here. But then I can pick them up that way rather than having to kind of take them out from the side.
And then we have another program to talk about, specifically our Go Baby Go program that we offer here at Pacer Center. It's where we modify ride-on cars, so Power Wheels cars, for example. There's a picture here of Walter. That's his second of 3 cars that we've made for him because he keeps growing out of them. But basically, we modify these cars either with supports for seating, alternative steering options, ways to better grasp the steering wheel, or a lot of times we switch adapt it so that, yeah, I don't know if you can see in this picture, but he has a blue button, and that's how he accelerates instead of using the pedal with his foot. So we do these for kids, usually around 2 to 6 years of age. It depends on their size, and we'll modify it specifically for their needs. So if you know someone who this might be good for, reach out to us, stc@pacer.org, and we can do that for you. It's usually a pretty straightforward process with these. We can make recommendations on which cars work really well and which ones are easy to modify. So consider that if you know a small child. When Walter came to us, the first time he drove this car was the first time he moved independently. So he was really excited, and then he drives his sister around now, which is great. All right, so that's Go Baby Go. But now let's move on to a different category. Let's talk about some timers. We're going to start with the time trackers. Swap with you, Elizabeth. So we'll start with this time tracker. This is a sort of a visual timer. This lights up based on your timer. I'm going to start this right now. And what's nice is you can customize when it changes these colors. So I'll start this real quick. So it's green for a specified amount of time, and then when that time is up, it switches to yellow for a specified amount of time, and then when that time is up, it switches to red. And the idea behind this is it's really helpful for transitioning to different activities. And you can get very granular on how long each of these things are. So you can have, the red for a certain amount, or the green for 20 minutes. You can have the yellow for 10 minutes, the red for a certain amount of time. That's what's really nice about this one, is you can get very granular down to the second, actually. I just set these up for 5 seconds each for the demo, but you can go many, many hours. I think they have lots.
I think you can do anything because it's
Yeah, it's a digital clock,
it's
so
digital
you
clock.
can get to really long time in there. There is a sound that you can have to it. It has volume control here, so it beeps as it transitions, or you can just have the blinking as it transitions to the next light. So that can be really helpful for that transitioning from activity to activity. And then this is just a smaller version of it, where you set the overall time with the green dial, and then how long it stays green before it turns yellow. And so it stays green, and then after 5 minutes, it will turn yellow, and you can have up to 2 hours, I think, is the maximum this particular timer goes. It's a lot smaller, so a lot of times this is helpful for the smaller kids because it's easier to see, but there's two different form factors here, which is nice.
But you can't get as granular with the mini one
Yeah,
as you can.
this one you're limited to 5-minute increments. This one you can have down to the second, which is pretty cool.
We do have a question about Go Baby Go.
Oh, Go Baby Go. I'd love to hear how you're modifying acceleration. We have a Go Baby Go style program in EL, and I adapt a lot of vehicles that cannot change acceleration. So a lot of times it depends on the car. There are some cars you can get that have built-in gradual acceleration. So older ride-on cars, you'd hit go and it would just boom, it would just go, and you'd have that whiplash effect. It's minimal, but for a lot of kids, it was a huge difference. But you can get cars now that built in just gradually start. And then you have usually 2 levels of speed. So a lot of times it comes down to the car. To modify an existing one actually gets really complicated. An existing one that doesn't have that slow acceleration actually gets really complicated. So usually the best answer is to get one with that built in. So you can, a lot of times if you search on Amazon or whatever, it says if it has that smooth acceleration is what they call it. But yeah, that was a huge problem for a really long time. The next thing for timers, these are visual timers. These are called the time timers. They come in all sorts of different sizes. We have really big ones, small ones like this. You can even get them on a smartwatch. And they range in amount of time that they work with. But you can see here, you just turn the dial for however many minutes. you want. Here, this one goes all the way up to 20 minutes. And then it just counts down, gradually shrinking. So you have that quick visual cue for how much time is left. In fact, we have one running right over here on the side for us to really quickly see how much time we have left in this presentation. This one looks like it goes from 0 to 10 minutes. But you can have them, gosh, what's the longest you've seen? I know we have 1 hour, but
I think 1 hour is
usually the
usually
longest.
the longest.
You can have these often have ability to beep at the end, but you can also turn that beep off. We have a set that's built into a dry erase board, so you can put little notes around each part of it for different activities along the way. That's kind of a cool one. But these ones are your standard examples. This one's got a nice handle, which is good. This one has sort of a silicone coating, so it resists being thrown a bit better than some of the other ones do. So that can be
It's
helpful
also
to know.
smaller.
And it is smaller, yeah. Which maybe means it can be thrown farther, but that's something to consider. So these are time timers, all sorts of different sizes and colors too. They come in. The next area, these things called easy holds. We got a whole bunch of them. Come in all sorts of different sizes. They're silicone, right? Stretchy silicone. And they're used to strap onto things to make things easier to grab. So here we have a toy bottle, and this has just been strapped around there. And then you basically have extra support. My hand doesn't really fit in here, but you get the idea. You can even grab it this way, however it works. Because they come in all sorts of different sizes, you can use them for any. This might be too big for the marker. Maybe I'll do the smaller one for the marker. And these just stretch right over that. And they can hold on pretty tight if you get a small enough one. Take this off. There you go. And then you've modified this to have this extra support on there. You can put it on paintbrushes, utensils like forks and spoons, basically anything you can think of that this can strap around.
Yeah, anything that can fit in the holes, you can use it with.
Yeah, and they're pretty stretchy. So if you get small size, these hold on pretty tight, so they don't just fall straight off. Whereas the bigger ones maybe would. So these are called easy holds. Do they have off-brand versions of these? Easy Hold is the brand name.
I've actually never looked to see, but they might.
Yeah, so those are easy holds. Got next on the list. Ooh, the non-slip mat. I had talked about this briefly. This is something that a lot of people wouldn't think of as assistive technology. This is a non-slip mat. This is a Dyson mat. So it's not only non-slip on the table, it's non-slip for things you put on it. I was gonna put this guy on here. Which we'll see this guy in a little bit. But now he's really, I can't won't slide. It's a non-slip mat. There are all sorts of different brands of this. This one is, I mean, you can almost feel it's almost a little tacky, the Dyson mat. But this can be really helpful for keeping things, within reach, but also accessible. You can pick it up. Whereas like with the suction cups, you keep things in reach, but they can't be picked up from there.
Nicole says that Walmart was carrying some similar items to the easy holds in the school supplies section.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. All right, so that's the Dyson mat. All sorts of different styles of non-stick mats. Let's consider that. And then, this is a fun one. So this is an LED bright pad, and I realized I didn't bring any things to put on it.
I did not.
I'll just explain. So this is just a light pad. So I turn this on, and it lights up, giving you that high contrast. You can have some. We have transparent sort of tanagrams that we use.
Also have like
Magnetiles.
Magnetiles would work.
We have some things where you can build letters with them, and they're transparent.
And you can even, this one is actually, it's marketed as tracing. So you can, put things on here and trace over it. But the interesting thing about this is they can range drastically in price. Like if you go to, like we have one that's like $120 or something.
Well, this is kind of the idea of like a light table or a light board that you may be familiar with. I mean, a light table is like a table where the top is this light, can be hundreds of dollars. Where we have some like they're called tabletop light panels but you have to plug them in, so they can't kind of go wherever like this would kind of, those ones are about 120.
Yeah. Whereas something like this you can find for, I think, $20 or something, maybe even less. I'm not sure. On the handout, it says what this specific one is. It does have some texture too to it. It's not completely smooth, which you can't see in the camera. But the fact that it's battery powered is really helpful. I mean, it has a USB charging to charge the battery. But then the battery, I guess we haven't really tested out how long that lasts, but that just gives a lot of freedom to where you use this.
I also like this one because you can also modify the light a little bit too, like the warmth and also the brightness.
Yeah, you can't tell in the camera because the camera keeps adjusting for exposure, but it does get darker and lighter, and there is a cool light, a warm light, and then sort of the middle of the road. So that's kind of nice. I'll just
So for a kid
push
with low
buttons.
vision or someone who needs kind of highlighting something to draw their attention to it can be helpful.
So that is, this is just a generic LED bright pad. Then fidgets. Okay, fidgets, we didn't bring much because there are so many options out there with fidgets. It's the type of thing that you kind of have to get your hands on to see if it's going to be beneficial. This one here is, oh, I forget the name, dual twin
Popper fidget or bubble fidget.
Yeah, we have on the twin bubble popper. Okay, so they come in all sorts of different sizes. This is a small one, has a little carabiner on there, but it's just if you like bubble wrap, this is
But I thought like the carabiner, you could put like, parent could have that on, their purse or in a wallet, but you could also hook it to, high chair or stroller or kind of different things.
So that's kind of unique, especially in the size. I've seen bigger ones. This small one is nice. And then the other one, these are bendies, all right, bendies with 2 E's and a Z. And these guys, they're kind of hard. You need a bit of strength to bend them, but once they're in that position, they're pretty close. They stay pretty much in that position with, some bendability. So you can wrap this around things, make it into different shapes. It's just one of those things that you just want to keep playing with.
And quiet.
And that's the other good point. It's very quiet because fidgets come in all sorts of different volumes. A quiet one can be really helpful. Even this is quiet, but there is a noise to it. I don't know if you can hear it on the microphone, but there is a sort of a clicking noise to it. So those are just some examples of fidgets. We have tons of different fidgets in our library. Sometimes people just come and just explore those to see if there's anything that they're interested in. But yeah, those are 2 examples of fidgets. And then, I forgot how we were going to do this one. We might have to switch to the big camera. This is a spinning swivel chair. I don't know if I can hold this up. But it's a large disc, essentially. It can take something like 50 pounds, I think is what it is. Maybe.
I think it says 100 kilograms. So convert that to pounds.
Yeah. We'll get back to you. We'll get back to you.
But it just spins. And this has been super popular since we got it. We had to reserve this so we could show it in this, so no one would check it out for this presentation. But this one, it's just called spinning swivel chair. It doesn't have a brand.
Chair, but it can be a nice way to get some. You have someone who needs some kind of movement and spinning input to feel more regulated. It can be a great way to do it.
Yeah.
And even though it was hard to like hold up for the camera, it's actually quite small in the room, which I think is really nice for having something that gives that input and having it be a relatively small size.
Yeah, and it's very stable. It has sort of non-slip pads on the bottom too, so it can go on, tile or wood floor or something. So that's spinning swivel chair. Next, weighted items. This is another huge category with lots of different things. I think I'll start with the snake. We can keep on the main screen and then we'll switch to the other one for the elephant. But this is a snake. It's about 3 feet long, but it has 3 segments that are weighted. I think this is about 2 pounds or something.
2.5.
2.5 pounds. But it's soft. You can wear it around. You have this nice.
Put it on your lap.
Put it on your lap. This one, the exact name is just weighted. Oh, washable snuggle snake, which means you can pop this right in the wash, and these little beads aren't going to pop out.
Supposedly.
So we'll see. We haven't really put it to the test on a washing machine yet, but that's a helpful feature. The other weighted one we have is this elephant, and we didn't purposely stick to an elephant theme. But this one is the Cordy. Yeah, Cordy elephant. So it has this sort of ribbed corduroy style texture. This one's heavy. This is 3 pounds. I don't know if you can hear that. I mean, it shakes the whole camera. But it's weighted in the base here, so it's very stable. And that's just another example. But these weighted things come in all sorts of ranges of weights. So that snake, for example, was 2.5 pounds. This is 3, but it does feel significantly different because that snake was spread out, whereas the weight of this guy's all right in the base here. So
Yeah. And weighted items come in different forms, different weights and things like that. So if you're working with an occupational therapist, that's a great place to start but usually they say that a weighted item should not be more than 10% of the individual's body weight. So that's why we started with some lighter weighted things.
Yep. Good point. So 10%, that would be 30 pounds individual for something this heavy. And the pressure vest. So speaking of weighted things, there are weighted vests too, weighted blankets, things like that. This is a pressure vest. And how this works, this is the brand on this one is extra small. So this is the smallest they come in, but they do have sizes that go up to
I think they go up to adult sizes.
But this one, so it's actually 2 different pieces here, which is nice. So like you don't have to put it over the kid's head. You can strap it around. But this is just I guess this could be the front or the back, right? And then this straps down.
Technically the back, because the other part is blue.
Okay, and so then you pull this down tight, pull that down tight, and you can choose how tight you want to make it based on the desire. And so then you have this nice it's very flexible. I guess this is some sort of stretchy polyester, but this is really nice and super soft and can add that compression, that pressure around the whole torso there.
And I love that you guys have the tag on the outside.
Oh yeah.
I think that sometimes the power of positioning is so important. And so I know, at least for my own child with disabilities, that those tags can be a real barrier. And so thinking about, wow, what a accommodating switch just to turn it over.
Yeah, and this actually does have different texture on one side than the other. I think this is actually designed to be the inside. Right. So they've had that same thing in mind.
Yeah.
On the outside. Yes, all of my kids' shirts have the tags cut off them.
Yes.
But yeah, that's a good point. And headphones, and really, is headphones the right phrase, or should we say earmuff?
Earmuff.
Or So this is just, I mean, there's on the handout, we didn't put a link to this specific set. There's so many out there. These are just sound dampening earmuffs. They don't have music or anything. They don't do any of that. It's just sound dampening. These are over the head style. So this is not our smallest, but they do come in smaller even than this.
Yeah, and I think specifically if you're looking for very small ones, for the fun and function link has some baby sizes available too.
Yeah, so on the handout there's 3 different places that we link to where you can find different styles and different sizes. And they're like, we often have been showing sort of the earbud styles for older kids and adults and things, but with this you don't want something that is easily swallowable.
Swallowable.
So this is an important thing to consider. So these are earmuffs or sound canceling headphones. Actually, what I will point out is, yes, we don't have these or any on the list, but there are some that use noise canceling I guess technology, which is a lot of times not necessary. This is just straight earmuffs basically, so no batteries, no anything, which is nice. And then vibrating items, we have 2 things. This is another category with lots of different items.
Do you want to
Plunk.
Do you want to go to the other?
Maybe not. This will work here because we want to see the inside here. So this one, This is a what's it called?
It's the vibrating pillow unicorn. It comes in all different animals and if whatever. So,
Yep.
but this is the unicorn.
And in here is where the vibrating device has some settings. If you unzip it here, even this itself has some texture to it, which is kind of interesting. It has a couple of different things you can, when you turn it on, that just sets it up so when you squeeze this, oh, I guarantee you can't see this or hear it. Maybe if I take this out, maybe maybe you can hear that in the microphone, but it's vibrating. And it vibrates for a specified time. So this one is not a turn off and turn on. So you can't just squeeze it again to turn it off. It goes for 2 minutes, I think we looked up. But there's also another setting on it where it doesn't just constantly vibrate, it pulses. Kind of, here, I'm going to put it next to the microphone here. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's kind of going bump, 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 bump. Instead of a constant vibration, it has a beat similar to a heartbeat. Oh, our timer went off. Which one is it? Timer went off. All right, we got it. So I'm going to turn this off here for a second. This also has music that it can play built in. If I switch this to music when I activate it, there's some music that plays with it. But another kind of unique thing to this is you can set it to a recording, to play a recording, and you can record a message on there. So if I hold this down, oh, I got turned on. This is my message. And now when I play this,
It's my message.
It just replays it over and over again.
This is my message.
yeah, it just plays that over, and you can do a longer message than what I just did there, but this goes inside there, and then it's activated just by squeezing the pillow. So you squeeze that or lay on it, and it's saying, this is my message. This is my message. Or you can have it say something more appropriate to unicorns, or whatever.
Or you can have it say nothing.
Or you can have it say nothing, yeah. So that one is the sensory vibrating pillow, the unicorn variety. And then the last thing we have here is this handheld doggy massager. So its feet here act as little massagers. You push its nose and it massages. So you can do that in arms, legs, whatever, back. That's pretty straightforward. It's intense. You might be able to hear that vibration there. But it's intense. It's loud, I should say. The vibration isn't.
But also, I think with vibrated items is another where trying is helpful because some of them are intense vibration and some kids find that too much, but also some kids find it not enough. So it's kind of have to try what each item has.
Yeah, it's almost like it'd be great to have a library where you could borrow these things. Oh, there's a plug for us. There's a plug for us. So it's something to consider. Then that kind of brings us almost to the end. The last section is communication. So I'm going to turn it over to Elizabeth.
All right. Here. So we have 3 items here on communication, which are just a very, very small sample of what is out there. So each of these are kind of just an example. So this is a Big Mac, which is a single message device, and there are lots of options for single message devices. But what this one does is, if I turn it on here, it will play any message that I record on it that is up to 2 minutes in length. So currently I have the repeated line from the Very Hungry Caterpillar books in it, so that if we were reading a story, the child could hit the switch when I get to that part.
But he was still hungry.
And participate in the reading that way. But you could record, like the word more if you were at snack time, or go if you were on the swing, or things like that, to add that communication element to it. It comes with different colored tops so that you can switch out the top, or if you're using multiple, you can have different colored ones so that you can differentiate them. But it's really easy. You just turn on the record button, press and hold and record. And it can be a great way to kind of add some communication and language to an activity. The next example we have is another kind of mid-tech device. So mid-tech just meaning that it runs on batteries, but I still do the recording on these as well. So what all of these are here, I'm gonna start with this one, I think, are GoTalk devices. And as you kind of saw there, and we'll talk about in a second, they come in all different, not all different sizes, different sizes. This one is called the GoTalk 9 because it has these 9 buttons here. And what this does is I can make an overlay of what words that I want to record. And then I can put it in here. And I can record up to 5 levels. And so these 9 buttons can be different across those 5 levels. But these 3 up here that are in this little white box are what they consider their core vocabulary words. And so these 3 will be the same across all of these 5 levels. So usually these 3 might be, right now they're yes, no, and all done, which you might use in lots of different situations. They could be a greeting or something that you want to use, be able to have access to all the time. But if I turn this on here, now when I press a button here, I don't know if you can hear that. We'll turn the volume up here. Ooh. It says what I have recorded. So you can, you can record a word or a phrase. Want. And then I could change this out and put it in a different words and have access to more vocabulary that way. So this is the 9 plus. They do come in with fewer buttons. So this is the 4 plus. So 4 again, these 4 would change across my 5 levels, and these 2 would stay the same across all of those levels. And then it comes in a bigger size. This is the 20. So same idea, 20 buttons. So 20 times 5, my math person, 100. So this way I get up to 100 words because I have 20 per of the 5 levels.
105, get that top row.
There you go. All right.
And the size of the device is still the same all across. It's just the number
Right.
of symbols.
So like if I
buttons
put
that are on each.
the 20 and the 4 here side by side, they're the same. The only difference is this is an older version, which is why it's a different color, but they're the same size, same weight, same handle. All right. The last thing we have on the list is an example of a high-tech option for communication. It's an iPad app. Oops. And so this app is called Touch Chat HD with Word Power. And I'm going to give you a brief demonstration, but it's going to just kind of scratch the surface of what you can do with this. I can change how many buttons are on the screen. I can change the voice. I can change the pictures. I can add words. I can delete words. So you can really customize it. But the way that this app works is if I press a button like drink, the screen changes to things that they think might follow that thought or communication. So again, this is the default, so I could, add different things, delete different things, but I could say
Water.
And then the yellow house is how I get home. So then I could go into things like describe, and that's where I start to get some of my feeling words. So I could
Frustrated.
say that I'm frustrated and things like that. Oops. But I can also go into my groups here, and that's where I get some different categories. So you'll notice, and I mentioned this with the Go Talks here, that I mentioned core vocabulary. So the way that a lot of the communication apps are set up is that here on the homepage, I have words like I, want, like, you, go, things like that. And that's based on research that says that about 80% of the words that we use are considered core vocabulary words. So they're words that we use in different situations across different contexts, and they're the same amongst different people. Whereas fringe vocabulary or personal vocabulary are more nouns and things like that, but that is about 20% of the words we use, and it's different from person to person. So my personal vocabulary is different from Beth's, and so that's why it's important to customize. But that's also why a lot of them will start with that core vocabulary on the homepage because you use it so often.
That is a short.
Short,
There's a
short.
lot more to it, but yeah. All right, I think that brings us to the end of our demonstrations. We got about 5 minutes left. Are there any questions in the chat, either about assistive technology, about parent advocacy, anything in between? Go ahead and put those in the chat. You can also email us for assistive technology info@stc@pacer.org. We also have an Ask an Advocate form that you can fill out. That's what that QR code does. Links to that are in the handout as well. So I'm waiting for questions, a couple things to go over here. We got a couple upcoming workshops. March 24th, it's a couple weeks here. Understanding Special Education for Your Native American Child. That's also virtual through Zoom, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And then Elizabeth is going to be doing Exploring Chromebook Accessibility on April 9th. And then we also have, I was talking about social inclusion, a Tech for Teens series of workshops on April 11th, or 3D modeling a Lego style brick. So that is for teens. Ages 12 to even beyond 20 for this one. That's in person here at Pacer Center using our Makerspace lab and our STEM program. So if you have a teen interested in learning about STEM, have them check that one out. And okay, some of you are probably wondering, where's that certificate of attendance? Let me grab our survey here. Okay, I just put in the chat a survey for certificate of attendance at the end. But when you do fill out that survey, before you hit done, make sure you hit, please click here to get that certificate. A lot of times you just hit done and then you can't get it. If something goes wrong, just email us at stc@pacer.org. I'm going to put that one more time. Survey with, with certificate. And we have a couple questions. How can we better integrate AT in schools and home environments? Are there things we can easily make to use? That's a big question.
Yeah. Well, and I think really guiding it from your kiddos' needs and thinking about those environments and thinking about where maybe some experiences or activities that overlap between the two, and maybe start there. Having those conversations if your kid does have an IEP or an IFSP, really making sure that you collaborate with the team and share even how you're using things at home, how it's going well, and what activities your little one is using assistive technology within. I mean, those are some of the first things I think about.
I think for the part of that question that are things that you can easily make to use, I think kind of we highlighted a little bit, but there are definitely ways that you can adapt things that you already have, that if you're noticing, oh, my child is really frustrated with this toy, or like but really likes playing with it. So kind of thinking through, what could I add to it that could make it more helpful? Would it be adding suction cups to it or making it so they can more easily grasp? But that's also kind of part of what our guided explorations are about too. That if you're looking for ways to, how can we help a child do different things, that's something that we can talk about and look at and try different options too.
Yeah, if you go to our page, our assistive technology page at pacer.org, there's a spot to do a guided exploration where we can work specifically with your needs or your kiddos' needs. And
they can be in person here at Pacer, but also virtually as well. Again, the difference being able to try mostly. But
well, and also I'm thinking about like that compression vest and just flipping it so then the tags on the outside, the idea of using the things that you already have and maybe using them a little bit different, I think is also something that you can collaborate with STC or also your kids' teams at school as well.
And then there was another question asking about our lending library, which memberships are free for Minnesota residents. The length of time is 4 weeks, so you can check out up to 4 items at a time for 4 weeks at a time. If there's no demand on them, you can extend that to another 4 weeks. But we found that 4 weeks tends to be a good trial for most things. So great question. Well, we are at 1 o'clock, so our time is technically up. Thank you, everybody. Oh, quick reminder, tickets are on sale for Pacer's annual gala. It's Saturday, April 25th. Go to pacer.org/gala. It's a fantastic event. Great way to support what we do here at Pacer. And that is everything. So go ahead and look for this recording on Pacer's YouTube channel later today, and I appreciate everyone coming out. So thanks again, and have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.